Good evening, everyone. Had another question come in, and this one was about, long story short, on the explanation of the question, was someone had been to church, and it was a large church. And in saying that, I'm not saying all large churches are bad, and not all small churches are good. It can be either way. Any church that is sound biblically and is growing for the right reason and doing things biblically is okay, no matter how small or big it is. So church size really doesn't have anything to do with it. This just happened to be a large church. And some large churches do get big because they don't follow biblical doctrine. They seek to please man, and they figure out how to fill a church up that way. And I think this was a church like that in this instance. But it's not a blanket for all large churches, by no means. But anyway, they asked the question was they started seeing a lot of worldly things going on and things that weren't biblical going on, and they left the church. And now they're wanting to go to a new church, but everywhere they go, they find, the person asked the question, I find myself, judging and watching everything so close, and I get so hyper-focused on that, I can't focus on God. Which is a good question, because trying the spirits is something we have to do, and if we're going to a church, we do have to be aware of the doctrines being taught there and if they're sound biblically. But beyond that, as far as people performance and what people are doing, we just have to learn to take our eyes off of that, because there are no perfect people. Henceforth, there are no perfect churches. But you do want to be sure you're in a church that is sound. I've got some scripture I want to read on this one too. We're going to start off in 1 Thessalonians 4:11. It says, "And that you study to be quiet and to do your own business and to work with your own hands as we commanded you." I'm going to go also to Ephesians 31 through 32. That scripture right there is kind of telling us that when we're going to church, we need to mind ourselves and we need to mind God. I tell people a lot of times when I'm teaching that I myself am a full-time job, and I just simply don't have enough mental capacity to be worried about what everybody else is doing, in their personal life. I seen brother or sister so-and-so, somebody was tailgating the other day and they throwed a big fit and said some things they shouldn't have. Well, that happens to everybody. We all fail. And I tell people often, if you follow me around long enough, I'll disappoint you because I'm a human. And we all fall into that category. So we have to pretty much keep our eyes on the one we see in the mirror every morning when we're getting ready. All right. And the next one here in Ephesians 4:31 and 32, it says, "Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice. And be you kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as God, for Christ's sake, has forgiven you." Because you simply don't know why, if you're looking at other people and seeing what they're doing, you don't know why they're doing it. And, that's why God tells us not to judge. He doesn't tell us not to judge things biblically. He says don't try to judge someone whether they're saved or not, or why they're committing a sin, because we don't know. We can't read their hearts. We can't read their minds. But we have to love one another. We see Christ putting this into action in his ministry over and over again. He never condoned what sinners did, but he never condemned them for the people they were. He offered them a solution and a cure through love. All right, let's go to one more scripture on that. We're going to be in Matthew 7. This is about kind of watching ourselves instead of worrying about others. It says, "Why do you behold the mote that is in your brother's eye, but consider not the beam that is in your own eye?" Again, Jesus is telling us here on the Sermon on the Mount to keep our focus on ourselves and our own personal relationship with God. And if we'll do that, we'll find that judging spirit that we've all dealt with, especially in that situation, it's kind of a natural human thing to do. But if we'll focus on our personal holiness and our relationship with God, we'll find that wall starting to come down, and we'll find ourselves starting to love our brothers and sisters no matter what state they're in. Our pastor used to tell us to love them right where they're at. Thank you.